Hello.
I think we should have kept that dollar juice box. Would have made you $1
You're doing pretty well? No, it looks like you guys are surrounded.
Can I have one of those pamphlets?
Yeah, absolutely.
At my job, I worked there for 6 years.
I'm part of
Black man that used to work there as well. I worked my ass off. I would come early and be last.
I doubt it.
Disgusting socialist commies.
Hey, you don't take it back. You put way too many fonts in this, I cannot read it.
Why don't you go back to
USA! 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 USA!
Not China!
USA! USA!
And that's what I do. I do.
USA! Pieces of shit like you belong in Gitmo.
There you go.
From not talking to each other and paying attention to how many of us Americans are poor, how many of us Americans are not being taken care of by our country, but pay taxes. That's a real conversation that these Democrats and Republicans don't want us to have.
No, they don't want us to know the truth.
I agree.
But what we need to do is we need to start with our generation. You know, I'm much
What is going on? And earlier we were at the building there, and now we are preparing to march out to the street.
You guys should have probably tried having a conversation like a little bit late.
Oh, thank you, sir. I support for Trump. I'm from far away. I'm from Las Vegas. Far away. Thank you.
No, you're absolutely right. But Del Taco is a guilty pleasure that reminds me of home. No complaining there. Listen.
Good job on your speech, man.
Thank you.
Very good. You too.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you so much.
You think that these politicians are going to solve all problems?
No.
That's what everyone's saying.
No.
You know what I mean? Like, they're going to solve all problems. They're going to do everything. It comes down to us. We outnumber them. You know what I mean? We know what's really going on. They've been in office. They do this as a career.
We all grew up. We all had parents.
That's why I don't sit here and wait
I mean, it's sad to say, too.
Okay, I know he's fucking racist. He ain't shit. You know what I mean? He's fighting Trump too. He don't care about me. He don't care about us. These politicians don't care. Trump is richer than all of us, okay? He's richer than all of us, okay? And we do all his dirty work. Everybody's out here for him though, because he's chilling in the White House and he's probably playing golf, because he likes to do that. He's probably playing golf, and he's rich as hell. He's got buildings everywhere, and you guys, I mean, I'm not even saying you guys, but what I'm saying is politicians ain't our savior, okay? They don't have the problems that we have.
Not our savior, but he's
They're not.
line to pass the Constitution. I didn't vote for the man. I thought he was crap as all hell. I thought him and the Clintons for 30 years have been whining and dying together for this moment. I was wrong. I
Fuck the
educated myself
Clintons
again.
too. Fuck them too.
Now I'm willing to die for him.
Listen, these politicians, all of them, Trump included, they're not going to solve our problems. Trump is playing golf, and you know what? We out here. Homeboy got a gun over there. Another homeboy got a gun over here. We're out here protesting all the time, and Trump is chilling playing golf. He's with his wife, his kids, and all of them. They don't give a fuck about us. Okay? They don't care about us.
He didn't care. He was a billionaire before he went in. He was a billionaire. So why did he waste his time if he didn't care?
I can't Okay, but these conversations though, this is what's important. This is how you'll know. Okay, this is how you'll know the reality of what's going on. Only 4 of us came here today.
Private conversations for months. I've been down here in Seattle. I've been down there in Seattle. I mean, I've had these conversations.
Right. But hey,
I'm trying to get you guys to get on our side.
I don't need a side. That's the thing. That's where we're getting lost. We're trying to find sides so that we can oppose each other. That's what that's the thing. And we disagree. We disagree that the politicians ain't going to do that. We disagree the politicians ain't going to do it. They don't care about us. So why do I need to choose a side? I'm not a Democrat nor a Republican. Because I know they don't give a fuck about me. Absolutely. So if we choosing sides, how are we going to be united?
I mean, I'm not a Republican.
But you just told me to come on our side. You just said come on our side.
I don't think anybody here.
I don't need to come on no side.
I don't think
if we're talking about unity, then we need to come together, though, right?
Anybody here is willing to die for Trump.
Okay, I don't know. I don't know that.
I don't think
but
so.
you just said to come on my side. I don't want to go on no
Everybody here is willing to
side.
die for our grandchildren.
Okay,
To
listen.
preserve our freedoms for the future.
Listen, we're all fighting for a better future.
If we don't come together, there is no
Listen, but we're together now, though, right? And that's why we're talking. One, we got to start by teaching the truth, right? What's really going the whole truth. Yes, the whole truth.
The whole truth.
Yes.
It doesn't
Not
matter
selective.
if it's
And you know what?
just
Mass
black.
media is not going to do it. And the old systems, the old school systems ain't going to do it, right? So that's what we got to do. Start telling the actual truth, right? That's the first step. 2, having a conversation and realize how similar we actually are, right? We have the same problems. A lot of us are worried about how we're going to pay our rent, right? That's the same problem, okay? Right? A lot of us are worried about the future of our children, right? Yeah, we have a lot of the same issues. But when we're sitting here picking sides because politicians are puppeting people to, oh, this is that, and this is what you got to do. If you're black, you got to be with Biden. If you're
when I
this
got
and
here,
that.
I knew that I was going to have a conversation and dialogue with some folks here.
African American votes this year.
If any president ever.
I don't believe that.
When I was in Washington, D.C., there is a big singing group of black that support President Trump.
And that's what I'm saying.
They were from
just wanna be
deep
able to
state
know.
California.
And I'm talking about the stereotype, right? We make assumptions that because somebody's this, they stand for that, right? That's what I'm talking about. So again, the whole choosing side thing, you know what I mean? Or making assumptions that somebody's the way they are. And a lot of people do make assumptions about me. They think I'm ghetto. They think I'm uneducated, right? They think I'm a criminal.
Okay,
They think that I'm on welfare.
What you do is lump everybody
They think I'm on
in
welfare,
that.
right? That's what they think. That's what people think about me.
No, it's not.
Generally, yes.
No,
Generally,
it's
yes.
not.
I do.
If you're some kind of a story.
Listen.
and
I do.
nobody
I
say
stream.
that.
I stream, right? I stream.
Yeah.
And this is what I get all the time. I get attacked all the time just for recording the reality of what's going on.
You can record everything, but
I mean,
I'm telling you, a lot of the story is not true. Who is dividing U.S.?
That's what I'm saying.
Somebody is dividing U.S.
And a lot of
and
it,
automatically
and you know what?
says-
It's the politicians.
automatically
That's what
feel
dividing
like
us.
But it's not
It's
Trump.
the politicians. honey.
Trump is
That's what's
fighting
dividing
for
us.
us,
Okay?
all of
when you
us.
see
And he has been for 4 years.
Listen, we can keep acting like the politicians are our saviors, right? We can keep acting like the politicians are our saviors, right? But has any of them really solved any legitimate issues? We're still fighting each other.
Does anybody think the politicians are
We're
saviors?
still fighting.
Jesus Christ is our Savior.
You are giving people a lesson. Assume those white collar people automatically think you are this, you are that. That is from your mouth. It's not
from
from
my mouth.
those people.
I didn't say it was them though.
Well,
They asked me a question.
but you have that
Because
preset.
that's what I've
You have a
experienced.
preset
This is what people tell me.
mind. You
No, it's
push your idea to their head,
listen,
and they are not. They are
Hey,
not.
we were just talking. You asked me what my experience was.
We didn't ask what your experience was.
Okay,
We asked how
I'm
you
telling you
fix
what
it.
I deal with on a daily basis. What people call me. People call me uneducated. People call me ghetto. People say that I'm on welfare.
It's all right.
That's the truth.
It's all right, but all I'm
That's the
saying is,
truth.
right.
I'm not making an assumption. I've been called several times.
That's wrong. Yeah, that's bad.
I didn't say that.
I have a question.
I didn't say these things.
I have a question.
She asked me a question.
Listen.
She asked me a question because I said this is what I deal with on a daily basis. I didn't say it was them.
Wait a second.
I was
Do you know
saying
what?
how we need to come together. I didn't say it was them.
Wait
Right.
a second.
But
I
this-
never said it was y'all.
This woman right here comes from a communist country. She knows firsthand what could come to this country. So I think what she's speaking is some wisdom too.
No, I don't know about wisdom. She said that I called them that. I'm not calling them that.
No, she said that you're
I'm making an assumption, but it's
your
not an assumption
that people feel that way.
No. I'm not assuming. I know. I've been called this.
Okay, so listen, I have a question.
I said they didn't call you.
I didn't say they did. They know I didn't say that. Listen to her, Mama. Listen to her, Mama. Look. Listen to her.
You didn't. Okay, you said they didn't say. Look, you said we would.
I would never look at her and say that she is all these things.
And I didn't say she did. I said I've been called that.
So therefore, some politicians.
Thank you. And that's what I deal with on a daily basis. And because of that, yes, I know. That's what I deal with on a daily basis. You know, it's difficult to get a job, right? Because of my race, right?
It's difficult. I don't believe
But that's been like, I know you don't believe it, but this has been my experience, honey.
I've come down here 3 weeks
Okay,
now.
listen, I know you don't believe me, but I'm telling you what my experience is.
Okay,
I know how difficult it's been for me.
I'm white.
No, you have to
my
listen.
experience
You don't need to
down
talk to me like that.
My
I am
experience down here for weeks
know, but
is that I'm a Nazi. I'm racist. I'm part of KKK.
I didn't call you that.
I hate God. I'm going to hell.
Yeah,
I support
I'm sure
the
you've been
killing
called
of
that.
black people.
I'm sure you have been called that.
Day after day.
Right.
That is so.
I'm sure you have.
Standing across the
I'm
street
sure you have.
yelling KKK, Nazis.
I'm sure you have.
That's my experience.
Yes,
I don't want you to go through something like that.
No,
I don't.
but
at the end of the day,
none of
we're
you.
all
But I
gonna
do.
Listen, at
But
the
I
end
do.
of the day, we're all going to stand before God, okay? And we're going to get judgment for what we've done.
Okay.
I'm not going to stand before God saying that I was a Nazi, a KKK, but I love everyone.
Okay.
What I won't
But that's
stand
your
for
experience, though.
is
You
being
get called Nazi and all that
racist
stuff?
or KKK.
But you're not
or
asking
anything.
our experience. You're just trying to shove your experience
No, I'm
down our
not.
throat.
I'm sorry that
listening to
that
her.
ever happened.
Thank you. And I appreciate that.
It
I thank you
shouldn't
that.
happen to
I
any
know.
of us.
I know that. But
You
that's
know?
how we treat each other, though. You know what I mean? I believe you when you say that you've been called those names. You know what I mean? You told me you don't believe me that I've gone through those experiences.
I
know,
don't.
but I
I'm
believe
sorry.
you, though.
I believe you maybe have some. Do I believe
Okay,
that you?
but I didn't
the
say that
cops
you
pull a gun out on you because you've
But
got
that's
a
the
tail
truth.
light out.
But that's
you
the
know
truth,
what?
honey. I just said I
you know
believe
what?
everything they called
I'm
you,
sorry.
but you won't believe me because you know that
believe
reality is hard to accept.
I believe that you have had racism.
You know?
I absolutely believe.
You don't
it.
believe that a gun
But
was
do
pulled
I-
out on me, though. You don't believe a gun was pulled out on my sister either, though, right? You don't believe that, but it has
I have
happened.
black family members, and
Okay.
it is so funny to me how it only happens to select black people.
Listen, I just said I believe.
That's radical racism right there.
Yeah, and it exists, and it exists. It really
It
did.
exists in a very
Yes.
small population.
Oh,
Do you think
honey.
all police
You haven't
officers
seen the
are
rest of the
bad?
country.
Do you
Are you
believe
from
all-
Washington?
Do you believe
You have
all
not seen the rest of the
police
country. You need to go to the
officers are
South.
bad?
You need to go to New York. You need to go to Pennsylvania.
Do you
There's a whole
believe
nother
that
world
all
out there, honey.
police officers are bad?
Listen.
Do you
Listen.
believe that all police
Listen.
officers are
I don't
bad?
feel like they're doing their job. They're not doing it.
They're not
protecting
allowed
people.
to do their job.
Listen. You just said that I believed everything that they called you, right? They called you a Nazi, racist. And I said I believe that you've been called
I
that.
believe
But when I
that
told you my
everywhere
experience,
you go.
you said I don't believe that happened. So you can choose what you want the reality to be. But I know what my reality is. You don't have to believe
And
me,
I'm
but I
sorry
believe you, though.
if that's happened to you. I'm
Okay.
sorry. And I'm
If that
sorry
happened,
you
it
feel
did
that
happen,
way.
though. And I believe that you've been called that.
It should not be that.
But that's the reality, and I'm not the only one.
I know.
And I'm not the only one.
I know.
That's what makes me so confused.
Ma'am.
Yes.
And that's why, like,
Okay, I believe everything you said.
Right.
And we've had terrible mistreatment done to us as well. Okay. But we've each had bad experiences. Okay. But what we want you to know is what we feel and what we believe. We're Christians.
Everybody has a right to believe what they believe.
We're Christians, and what we believe is red and yellow, black and white, they are precious in His sight. Jesus loves the little children of the world.
Listen, I'm not a Christian, I believe that too. What I'm saying, if that was the reality, then we wouldn't have these kind of experiences.
And if that becomes the reality in more people's hearts,
but it's
in
not
more
the
people's
reality right
minds, then that will be lovely for everyone. So that's what we're working toward. That's what we're working toward. We do not have negative feelings toward you because of the color of your skin. Quite frankly, black is beautiful.
I already know that, so I don't even need
that's how
that to be
we
told
feel.
to me.
That's how we feel.
You know what I mean? I already know that.
Everybody is
What I'm
beautiful, a
saying
beautiful creation of God.
You're saying that you're a Christian and that's what you believe, everybody's this and that, but that's not the reality of what's going on in this country right now. You know what I mean?
But it is the
It's
reality with so many of us here.
And that's the privilege of being white. It is kind of safe for y'all. It's not safe for me. You know what I mean? And that's what you can learn.
It's not safe for us. Republicans are
but you
attacked
just
all the
said,
time.
but you just said that that's the reality for you guys. That it is picture perfect and it's nice. That's a privilege that y'all have. I don't have that privilege. It's not that easy for me.
No, we're not saying it's
not peaceful
perfect.
for me.
It's not saying
you know
it's
what I mean?
perfect. Because,
I'm constantly having to defend myself. I'm constantly being
and
attacked.
so are we.
Okay.
We're Republicans.
Okay.
You know what that means?
I'm not a Republican and I'm not a Democrat. Okay? That's where people get lost. Okay?
And we're conservatives and we're Christians. So we're on the receiving end of enormous amount of abuse.
I'm a human being. I don't define myself by a title or a politician. Okay? I'm a human being.
Yeah.
And what I'm fighting
And we
for,
are too.
what I want is equality and a better world for the future. No, better world now. That's what I'm for. So you guys, that's why these conversations are important, because your reality is safe. Your reality is that whole picture proof, like I'm Christian. But outside of that, outside of this bubble, it's real. People are getting killed by police.
So
people
what
are dying
can be
every single
done
day.
to help?
Kids are disappearing.
What can help?
Schools are not teaching the truth.
What can be done to help alleviate that situation?
Okay, so I answered this question like 3 or 4 times already.
Okay, give me the short answer.
Conversations like these, so that we're not just stuck in our bubble, right, of our own reality, because it is a bubble. Because we think that because what's happening in our immediate world is what's going on in the rest of the country, right? That's one. Having a conversation, actually listening, accepting the truth. Because she didn't want to accept the truth. She just told me that she's been called a Nazi terrorist and all this stuff like that. And I said, I believe that. When I was telling her my story, you know what she said? I don't believe everything that you're saying. She's being selective. And she's denying the reality of what's going on in this country and what my experience is as a black woman.
Well, we will accept what you said is your reality.
Okay, so one,
and let's
having
start
a
from that
conversation,
basis.
right, and being willing to accept the truth. 2, right, actually teaching the truth. Because in schools, history is selective. They don't teach all the history. They selectively teach European white history. And that's the truth. Homegirl said she was a homeschool. So that's a whole different experience. But in public schools, it is very selective. Okay? And that's how they create this white supremacist kind of thinking, because only white history is being taught. Okay? There's only white teachers teaching black children. You know what I mean? So that perpetuates the issue when there's no representation. When people like me aren't being taught, schools aren't sharing my history. So I automatically think, oh, my history is just being a slave. Okay? Oh, white people have it better. I'm just like a junkie. I'm just ghetto, this and this and that. Because that's what's being taught in the schools. That white people are just better. And we only learn about white people. Okay? So teaching the truth, right? In the schools everywhere. Being willing to accept the truth. Right? And 4, and having an objective to come together. And politicians are not our saviors. You know what I mean?
Well, we agree with that, but we will say that President Trump, number one, we don't consider him a politician. That's why all the politicians are trying to destroy him. Let me finish. His position is a political position, but he is definitely, in the history of our country, not what one would consider a politician. He is the voice of the common man, the common people, even though he is wealthy. But he serves without pay. And consider what he has done for the black community.
Okay, but Opportunity zones. He's not my voice. He doesn't speak for me. He doesn't understand my reality.
But what has he done for the black community? Opportunity, ma'am, I'm trying to tell you something. Opportunity zones, criminal justice reform, the platinum plant, criminal justice reform, prison reform.
You see what's being filled in the prison? 70% black, okay?
He worked to change that.
Okay, well, it's
he
not
is
working.
the president who worked to change that.
It's not working. Nothing has changed in that form.
He's let all kinds of...
prisons are actually
He's let all kinds of people out of jail.
Private prisons. So they actually have to fill the jails in order for them to make a quota.
But ma'am, he has done so many things that have benefited everybody.
Really?
Lowest black unemployment. Let me finish. Lowest black unemployment in the history of our country. Highest black business ownership in the history of our country. Ma'am, these are good things.
If
Would
he
you
did
agree
something,
that these are good things?
do you think that this country would be on fire right now? Do you think we would be in a civil war right now if he actually did something?
We didn't instigate that. The media instigated that. Okay? He has done many good things for everybody, including the black community. I'm sure you agree with this.
No, I don't.
Well, then, ma'am, I don't think you're acknowledging the truth.
Listen, nothing has significantly changed in my life. I'm still struggling.
Your job is to change your life, not a politician, just like you said.
Okay, but
Your job is to change your life.
He said that he changed our lives. Though.
He did good things for everybody, including the black community. Lowest black unemployment in the history of the country, highest black business ownership in the history of the country.
Can I ask you one question? And let's not look at the color of our skin.
I don't want to. I really don't.
But I would like you to comment on, let's not look at the color of our skin, because there's a lot of difference between the color of your skin.
I just said that we have the same issue.
But let's call ourselves, first and foremost, Americans, and want to work together as Americans to make this country what.
But first off, I'm a human being.
Yes, of course.
So that,
and that's all of us
that's
as
who
well.
I am. I'm a human being.
Yes.
And I am willing to come together. If I wasn't.
You're not an American? Are you an American?
I live in America, I guess so.
Yes, you're an
American.
American.
But I am a human. You know, I am me. You know what I mean? I'm not a Republican. I'm not Democrat.
I'm leaving out Democrat,
I'm a human being.
Republican, independent.
Yeah, and that's what's most important.
But I'm talking American.
That's what unites us.
American. I was born in California.
Okay.
Raised in Canada, moved down here.
Okay.
But I don't look at you as a black lady. I don't.
Okay.
I look at you as an American wanting to make this country the way it will benefit all of us, to make it the way it should be.
Okay. And that's why, that's why I showed up here. I didn't have to come here. We had an intention to actually have a dialogue, right?
Right.
Because there was only 4 of us against hundreds of people.
Oh, yeah.
Right? So if we wanted to come with anything other than a dialogue, right? What are we going to do? Come here to fight?
No.
We're going to fight. 4 people going to come fight against hundreds of people? No. We came here
to shoot us, and we've just been standing here. You know,
we came here to have a serious conversation, and that's where it starts.
Right behind you guys.
Do you know what I think? I think that there's far more that unites us than what divides us.
Absolutely.
I think we should be united and together. There's much that we can unite on.
Absolutely.
Okay?
I agree.
But please understand this. You're an American. We love you. We love you.
I'm a human being.
Human being, we love you.
Yes, that's who I am.
Okay, you're a creation of God.
Yes.
We do not have animosity toward you. Okay?
Glad you're here so we can talk.
Absolutely, and that's why I came here. And that's why I came here with my girl right here. They showed up. We have 2 other friends that came over. That's why we came here. We didn't come here to fight. It's kind of stupid if we came here to fight, right? Up against hundreds of people. We came here to have a conversation. Yeah. We came here so that we can share our stories and understand the reality of what's actually going on. And that's the step. That's the first step in actually uniting, right?
I just want to have a lot of respect for you coming out here. It takes a lot of courage, a lot of guts.
Right? Right? That's what I'm saying.
I know there's a lot of people.
I know they didn't want me to speak earlier, but you know what I mean? We made it work. We had it happen. Okay, it's all good. You know, so yeah, I just need a.
And I want to apologize. I feel like some of the people weren't really fully listening to what you were trying to say.
Right. Thank you very much. I appreciate you for acknowledging that.
And there's so much misunderstanding between the whites and the blacks, or you name it, right? Republicans, Democrats. There's so much misunderstanding that it's hard to get through that and really have a conversation.
Because people are so.
What do you think, ma'am? Do you think more unites us than divides us?
I'm not having a conversation with you.
You're not having a conversation with me?
Because everyone's like, I'm this, I'm that, I'm that. Like, no, we're human beings.
Well, I wish you would.
And once we start breaking those barriers of who we are and what we identify with, and come down to the actual source of us actually being human beings, then it's easier to actually talk. You know what I mean? So it's like, I can say I'm American, but what if I come next to a Mexican? What actually unites us, is us being human, not me just being an American. You know what I mean? That's what I mean.
They're also an American. They live here.
But what if they're not from here, though? That's what I'm saying. At the end of the day, what it comes down to is us being human beings, not like, you know, okay, this is that. Because
I can see where you're coming
you
from.
feel what I'm saying? So when we come down to like not just having an identity of like what we
automatically assume that something that's bad that's happening is because of the skin color, and it's not like that in every situation. For example, Bubba Wallace, the garage door pull, it was Bubba Wallace, the NASCAR driver.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, and how it was this big, huge thing about, oh, he found it loose in his garage, and it was automatically assumed that it was a racial thing, that it was because he was black, that someone was attacking him.
What was it about?
That's how
it's been like that for like that forever.
Yes,
and it's been like that forever.
And it had been like that way before he was ever like there.
Yeah.
And like I said, there are many instances.
Yeah, but see, that's why we have to talk about it, because if people could let that shit go, if we could like heal from that, then our minds wouldn't run to those kind of things, you know? There's so many things that are unsaid and not dealt with in our country. There's things that this country has to make up for. I'm not saying white people, I'm saying this country, whatever that looks like, Obama in the White House or Trump in the White House. These things have to be accountable, you know? And until they are, we won't see like a middle class again, because people are going to be stuck in TANF, because you can't get out of government support, because as soon as you try to lift one foot up, that's when they cut you down.
Yeah. They're like, oh, you make too much, you're done.
Yeah,
that's what it is. That's exactly how it works.
And that's not something that only affects black communities.
Correct.
It affects us all.
Where are you ladies from?
I'm from Seattle.
Seattle? Where are you?
Seattle.
I've lived all over the United States of America and in 3 foreign countries, and I've been stationed in a few in between. So I wanted to talk to you guys for a minute, because I personally received a lot of discrimination, religious discrimination, for being Jewish right here in the great United States of America. Okay? I got my butt beat by multiple kids at the same time. I've had teachers look at me and said, I guess you'll find Jesus, and walk away. My books burned, my lockers bashed in, and much more. Hitler, and a lot of other things. Almost none of my black friends can say they've ever been through things like that. Okay, they could say their grandparents had been through things like that, and I believe it. I lived in the South. I protected my black friends against white bigots in the South. I know it exists. But people like me stood up for them, gave them rides, told people how disgusting they were for acting that way. I had a run-in with the Ku Klux Klan, the Grand Dragon in West Columbia, South Carolina. My friend and I, who happens to be a German, took a flight, which we did every weekend. We flew over their compound and flower bombed them with bags of flour, gave them all the white they wanted. So, you know, the reason I'm telling you these things is I want you guys to understand that I think you're on the wrong side of history.
Wait, no, don't get defensive yet.
Okay. No, I'm not being...
I'm just like surprised.
Can you speak on my behalf right now?
Sure.
We actually had this conversation about
Yes.
I'm not,
Okay.
She's not on any side.
Okay, because BLM, I heard you were BLM.
He just came in.
BLM on
No, somebody said you were, so I don't know. Oh, so you're not BLM. Okay.
Assumptions, right? We're making assumptions, right? We're making
I can't speak for those
that was not a
assumptions.
stereotype. It was
why
just
I just said assumption.
Just like
And I understand that.
assume that we're patriots. We're down here with
No,
flags,
I never
right?
assumed that. And what's wrong with the Patriot?
Nothing
Hold
at all,
on.
but what I'm saying
Patriots
is,
prayer, I don't know about that. But
yes,
that has nothing to do with me.
with people that have been violent and screamed racist things at us.
Okay, but I cannot speak for them. And just like you're not held accountable for like the Trump supporters that stab people in DC. I'm not threatening.
Somebody else told me that, so I didn't know. I thought you were, yeah.
So that's how we perpetuate issues and stuff
I do believe Black Lives Matter.
No, luckily you're here to say I'm not part of that.
Okay, that's what I was trying to say earlier, is that the organization and the term are two different things.
Right.
And then on top of that, if you have the organization, you have a whole bunch of white people who have been piggybacking off of that movement to bust windows and shit.
And I think every single one of those Antifa people need to be rounded up, charged, and put in jail.
Well, the argument could be said. The argument could be said too, right? Because accountability across the board. I could say that all the police officers that have killed people on the job should also be held accountable and thrown. Well, specifically.
I think like last year, like 9 African Americans were killed.
But she didn't say African American though.
What do you,
She said people.
I didn't say just. I'm saying, yeah, a police officer is supposed to protect and serve. I don't care what skin color you are. That's their job. Like, not to kill anybody.
I wonder if we did their job too. If we did their job, like, could you handle it? Could you do that?
Totally.
You could do it.
But I would. Can I say this? To be fair to the job title, I wouldn't enter a job I wasn't prepared to put my life on the line to protect those I'm doing it for.
They should
like soldiers or military. I know it's weird because we're talking about our country. It's weird, and we shouldn't be.
Disavow.
The real part about it is that there are actual threats, right? And they are human.
And there are bad her. There are some bad.
There's just bad people. Period. Yes.
And I don't even want to. There's bad black people. There's bad white people.
There's just bad people. Period. Across the board. Yes.
See what you guys need to do. Protest.
Wait, ma'am, to be respectful.
I'm talking about you too.
I know, but you saying what I need to do as an American, I don't need to do shit but pay my taxes. But I do want to hear what you have to say.
If you want people to listen, come down when we have all the violence down here. But why talking this stuff? Because it gets people to listen.
What I mean is, why would I come?
Flower shop and everything.
Really? No, time out. What I mean is, why would I come when there's violence and put my body at risk? Why would you even do that? I'm just saying, I don't know what violence you're talking about.
You wouldn't be targeted by it.
What violence are you speaking of specifically? Are you talking about like protest violence, like counter-protest?
I'm not going to say protest.
I'm not against it. Martin Luther King would have been disgusted by it.
Well, see, so what I've been doing. Well, can I say this? You were attacked.
She was attacked.
So this is who we were talking about.
Okay, so this is why I'm mad. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I didn't know that you were attacked. Now I understand why you didn't want to attack me.
This one right here.
You didn't attack. You didn't attack.
Okay, you guys, time out.
But that's what I'm saying.
I hear you. I'm listening to you, and I'm giving you.
Whatever company has if you want people to listen to this message,
well, that's really, can I be fair?
Diffuse that.
Well, can I be honest with you though? Because I cannot speak for every protester, and as a black woman, as just a person in America right now, it's not my job to raise other people's kids. Okay, just like it's not time out. Let me finish.
So you come
May I
forward
finish?
and explain why you called us that.
Can you let me finish? Because you're talking to me. I just want us to understand that when we're sharing dialogue, I can only speak for myself. I cannot speak for others. So if you ask me a question about somebody else, I can only tell you like my response. I cannot speak for anybody. I cannot speak for you, anyone. But what I'm gonna say is, in those moments, at least what I've been doing in Seattle is I have been talking about that, and I've been checking motherfuckers about Joe Biden and this election. And I was like, watch, fucking liberals are gonna fall back asleep because this man won the election. What ended up happening? They did.
And that's why we came out here.
Oh, we won. Cool. Let's all go back home.
We made it down.
What happened that same night we were celebrating in Seattle? You guys want to talk about it? I'm going to give you the news didn't talk about it. They were all celebrating Joe Biden's victory in Cap Hill on 10th and Pine. Guess what happened that night? A black man was killed. A black man was killed on the very streets that they were screaming Black Lives Matter and chanting and yes, I'm here to save your life. And in the very moment in their celebration that night, a black man was killed in the process.
By who? By a police officer?
No, not by a police officer. By one of the celebratory white folks that are how do you know celebrating white folks? Joe Biden. That's what I meant. I'm not like when I say white folk, I mean like.
Do you see how when you have the slip of the tongue?
What do you mean?
You didn't mean that badly.
Well, I'm not talking about you though. No. I'm not.
But you said white folk and I'm white, so it is about you. But if
she didn't say you white.
Just a second ago, when I accidentally grouped you guys together as BLM, you were very quick to tell me
yeah, because I
on both sides.
Not necessarily. But BLM and white folk, that is not the same. You're saying BLM and putting Antifa, no. But Antifa, no.
No, that's what I'm saying. When they're down here being all violent and crazy, it is white people down here.
Well, that's not what I was saying, man.
Here,
yeah.
I have babies that
I gotta live in this life.
Yeah, you know.
The majority of the Black Lives Matter people down here that have been protesting and violent have been white.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. In Seattle, they're white too. If you look at the statistics in Washington and you look at the percentages, we're looking at a 70% white population in Washington with like a 10% Asian, 10% Latino, and like 5 Black or something like that. So like that's gonna happen regardless in Washington. California though, like there's just more Black people there. So if there's like an actual Black Lives Matter march, which there was, they didn't break shit, they didn't destroy anything, but they were all Black.
So I think the distance I have personally, I don't want to discredit any type of racism that any of you guys have gone through. But my issue is that I am incredibly close, including family members with Black people, and like my best friends are straight from Nigeria, and they have never experienced it. Never. They will say to you, like when they're hearing all this Black Lives Matter stuff, they are sitting there telling you what it is like in their country and how they cannot believe anyone feels that way here.
Yeah.
So my community, at least, they're all like, where is it coming from? Where is this?
Can I be fair though to the people, because we don't want to minimize anyone's. Yeah, no. We don't want to minimize anyone's experience just because some Black people didn't have that experience. Because my parents, they come from Eritrea, East Africa, and there's not racism there because their government officials, their president is the same color as them. So what you get to now is you can't distract the people in this country with race because they're all the same race. So what they have is class issues, religious issues. That's why I said that earlier, that race is a distraction, that racism is a distraction, so we can't have conversations like this. It's not that it doesn't exist, but we have a different understanding of it. I know racism exists. I know that there are some racist people, right? That I know that there are people who go out of their way to make sure that they're only surrounded with people that look like them, whether they're Black or white, you know what I mean? All sides, right? Asian too, Latinx, it doesn't matter, you know, they exist. But when we talk about racism in the American sense,
not American.
It's a system of oppression made by the powers that be amongst a minority group. That's why there's this constant argument you'll see about this system being so racist, because when this country started, Black people were slaves at the time, right?
White people are too.
Indentured servants. They were indentured servants. There's a difference, because indentured servants means that you're indebted to your master until you pay it off by working. A slave was just bought like cattle
Have you done
or
any
livestock.
research or anything about Irish slaves?
I know that they have been fucked by the British.
They were actually treated worse than African American slaves.
And that is history. Time out. But can I ask you a question?
I'm not saying any of it's better.
No, I'm not. I know. But also, I'll do you one better. So you know how we talked about the media and how they twist and manipulate shit? Imagine at that time when slavery happened, the only media sources you had were all racist people. The only people writing books were all no. So I'm saying any information I would get from back then would be in the eyes of the people living at that time. So I'm just saying that with this argument that if you're taking something from now to then, it's just not the same, because anything written at that time saying that Irish slaves had it worse than Blacks, well, you shouldn't even compare the two. No. Let's just say they both had it bad. They both had it bad, and it was fucked up what happened to them. You know what I mean?
Wait, what are you
well, pay for what?
Well, we went to war. You know, what are you talking about? Republicans fought to.
Well, time out. If you know the history, then you know this too. Republicans also promised a lot of slaves freedom if they fought in the Revolutionary War. They didn't promise and keep their promises for every Black person that fought. I know my country. I know my history. I love this. I love it. I love it because then I can have real conversations about the condition, our current condition.
That we have to judge. Forget it's there.
Well,
it happened. I would never.
I think our government has to account for it. I don't think that individuals in the streets. Well, for starters, let's say education, curriculum. You know, let's be truthful to the history of our country, even the nasty, dirty parts. Let's talk about it. Yeah, no. So that's a start. That's a start.
Do you know what funds the government got? Yeah. So you're saying that the people should.
I meant the curriculum. I said I'm saying changing the curriculum. You wouldn't have to pay to do that. I'm saying.
Do you believe in reparations? Do you believe that?
I feel like curriculum and education is a form of reparations. Can I say this also? Like, fulfilling the basic needs of a human is a form of reparations, right? What do you mean? It's your God-given right, honestly, to have food in your stomach, clothes on your back, and a roof over your head.
But that's why God gives us the ability to work for it.
Yeah, but if you look at what they raise too, right? It's making it harder for people out here.
I mean, and then yeah, and the argument too, like, how are people going to do that with quarantine?
No,
how are we going to do that with lockdown?
We don't want
No. I'm not saying you do. I bring it up because I'm saying it's not sustainable. Like, because now we get to this point.
Is welfare.
Well, it's not. That's why I brought that up earlier.
So
welfare is only sustainable if you stay struggling.
So the basic.
That's fucked up.
50 million kids and you can be on welfare for the rest of your life.
But
the argument that everybody
it's just like it's such a backhanded thing.
The argument that everyone deserves like basic needs, like everyone does deserve that, but we have to work for it, right? Like I have 3 kids,
but see,
and if my kids' needs aren't met, that's my responsibility, my job, you know.
Totally. But I could also say this: me, I'm a single parent. My son's father passed away.
I'm so sorry.
He passed away, and I've been, breaking my back to take care of him, but also, educating myself, taking care of myself, because a healthy mother makes a healthy child, right? Yeah. And I could say, like, there's been times where I didn't have access because of where I was living. That doesn't mean that I shouldn't be able to get. And even like my parents, like they are part of the working class, they work for UW, they've been there for 20-30 years. They made too much money at one point for me to get financial aid. I'm like really not rich at all, and I'm just like not understanding the systems put at place. On paper they look and sound good, but they're not that simple. There's always like it's a backhanded thing.
It's because we have to pay for it. I think the problem is, right? I had the same problem with college. My parents saying to us, I couldn't have gotten assistance. If I took assistance, they're all paying for it. For my college, we're talking thousands and thousands and thousands of people.
I'm still paying on my college.
Well, the argument, that's the thing too, is that I wouldn't even apply for that. I have to get the subsidized loan, which means I'd have to eventually pay back.
We need to be holding the education system responsible, not the government.
What, UK, Europe, all of them get to go to college for free.
But I don't believe in free education.
We paying for this stuff anyway. We paying for
like they should be making it so that we don't need to be people who are working like us.
We spend billions of dollars on war but if we do that on education.
Trump hasn't started a single war, and he's trying to end
I never said Trump.
No, I
never said
didn't say
Trump.
you didn't. I didn't say you didn't. I'm just saying. I'm pointing out.
Right.
The Republicans
if somebody
historically
is desperate
have
and
been
needs
very
it,
much war.
Absolutely, they should have stuff like that.
Trump is
Things
trying to
can't
turn
just
that
be free.
around.
Because somebody does
Biden is already talking about.
Well, the thing is too, I know there are Americans that don't have a problem giving a little extra.
We're so willing to pay for
help those in need.
all this money.
I give extra. I give $5,000 extra
when it comes to basic
for a school that my kids aren't even in.
That won't have us like working.
I get it,
working at asses off just to pay student loans.
It's just like we have to figure out, maybe even
when it comes to
I personally believe that like with education,
it's a class thing. Then people are too much alike. People are.
Hey y'all. Hey y'all, fellow Americans, fellow people, say hello to America.
Hello.
Give us a good wave.
Thank you for bringing the PA, that was nice.
Oh, you're most welcome, sir.
Thank you, sir.
We'll see y'all later.
Have a good night.
Have a fantastic day and a safe trip home. God bless you all. And I mean all.